Salve Domine.
Genitum non factum, consubstantia Patri, perquem omnia facta sunt, cuius ex
Is it not a good time?
et instit. Filioque procedit, qui cum Patre et Filio simul adorat. Prophetas.
Can't you see we...
Peace be with you, brother.
Talk to me, brother.
I have all the pages of the torn-up book. The Art of Love can go back to the library. Oh, brother, you can't even imagine how happy you've made me. Since you're clearly a true lover of books, I'll give you a reward I've never given another novice. I'll lend you the key to the cabinet containing forbidden books, and you can look at the peculiar things we've accumulated there. That cabinet's strictly off limits to novices, but you've earned my trust. I'm sure you'll recognize that those books contain nothing but dangerous gibberish, and there's a valuable lesson to be learned there.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your trust. Is there anything I can do to help here?
I'm glad you asked. There's one thing, a silly thing really. I haven't thought to mention it to anyone before, but not long ago, a brother brought me a crumpled piece of parchment. He says he found it rolled up in a hole in the wall. The thing is, it was a page from Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the... Now I believe if he'd
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of
Praise be to Christ, brother.
glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered.
I'm looking for something a little unorthodox.
And what would...
But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only.
Oh, nothing.
What is commanded is done without hesitation.
I'd like to...
Delay, lukewarmness.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
What kind of question is that? John, of course.
For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will
Gregor,
incur the
talk to me.
punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint Benedict.
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can do for you in return?
Silence is so important. Permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even if it would be for good, holy.
I'd be interested in finding out the background of the other novices.
In much
That's a strange wish you have. And the only ones who know everything about the novices are the abbot and the prior. They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior's study.
Thanks. You've helped me immensely.
No, thank you. About that book, don't even think about breaking in to get it.
inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation, we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of
Praise
Saint
be to
Benedict.
Christ, brother.
Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is
What troubles you?
by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's
Nevlis wanted me to steal a forbidden book from the library.
Really? Oh, this must be a dream. Actually, this would never have occurred to me, even in my wildest dreams. Which book? What did he want it for?
What was that writer called? Avicenna, a pagan and a Mohammedan. He wanted to use it to help heal Abbot Peter.
What? That dirty louse thinks he can steal magic books and use them to curse good Christians? Well, he shan't, as long as my name's John.
I don't think it's really like that. It was a medicinal book, and Neverless had good intentions.
Brother, if the book is forbidden, there is a good reason for it. Forbidden books are full of magic, blasphemy, and witchcraft. There's no excuse for reading them, let alone stealing them from where they've been safely hidden away. Nevertheless has committed a grave offence, and he'll pay for it. But listen, brother, for the time being, keep it to yourself. Now, you've helped me greatly, but I'll save it for when Nevertheless begins elbowing his way into the elections. The power of truth is greatest when its timing is right.
As you wish. I'm glad I could help.
I won't forget it.
Readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy of
Talk to me, brother.
Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times in manual
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
The times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October.
Brother Yodok has been stealing wine for the cicadas so they can drink.
Yodok? Well, that little rat's shown his true colours. Do you know where he's stealing it from?
I don't know, unfortunately.
No matter. You've brought me important information.
The cicadas go into the cellar at night to drink wine.
I thought so. John always reeks of it. And he wants to be abbot. Hypocrite. Perhaps if you told the prior, that would clip John's wings.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
I'm interested in the election.
You're not...
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy.
I'll be interested to know more about Brother John.
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't...
Why do you want to become abbot?
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church, and I can't deny there's truth in what they say. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and esteem to the monastery.
That's all.
Peace be with you.
Let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task
What troubles
of
you?
such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into
I've read the
consideration
abbot's
by the
book.
abbot.
It says in there that you're not as saintly as you make out. Actually, it seems like you're as lecherous as a boring rut.
You broke into the abbot's quarters to spy on me? You won't get away with it.
I wasn't interested in your opinion about what I did. What interests me is you and what the book has to say about you.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to report you.
Expounding the Lord's commandments in
Peace be
words
with you,
to the
brother.
intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions.
Just
to
try
those
it,
hard
and I'll
of
smack
heart
you so hard your
and
feet
mind.
won't touch the ground.
The abbot should
No,
always
don't hit
remember
me.
what he is
I won't
and
say
what
anything
he
to anyone, I
and
promise.
should know that to whom more is committed, from him more is required. Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him... with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the first degree of This very obedience will be acceptable to God, and only if what is commanded is done without delay, warmness. For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. Will then murmurs, not necessarily in his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his word will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from being
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things?
Oh,
And what happens when...
well, then we...
Are there any candidates?
Yes, there are. Brothers John and Nevlas. Cursed elections. On one side are brothers who'd like to see John as abbot, on the other, those who support Nevlas. And they seem to be capable of fighting about it forever.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. I'd like to ask... Who would you like...
Brother John, obviously. No one's interested in Nevlas and his new ideas.
Ah,
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
you're not alone.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more.
That's all.
Peace be with you. What trouble?
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout
Not exactly.
John isn't but there is something you could help me with. You must...
That doesn't sound like...
Pity. And I thought you wanted to help.
Is there any...
What would...
Not exactly.
John isn't but there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the...
That doesn't sound like...
Pity.
What would you like?
I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it.
Oh, you're interested in what's inside? Forbidden books. Written
Oh, this is quite inexcusable, boy. Can you even read?
What is it?
Ah, Gregor.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. But I've...
What, you do nothing?
It is my... Ah, Greg.
I'd like to ask about something.
Can't you see I'm working? Get away from my cabinet. The books are what would you like?
I'd like to ask... Who would you like to be the new app?
John, there's...
4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading.
Praise be to...
After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read
I'm
it,
still
let them
curious
read
about
it
this
themselves
treasure.
in such a
It's
way
no
as
big
not to
terrible
disturb
secret.
anyone
Really, it isn't.
Let
I just
none
go
else
and read
set rather early at the middle of the 8th hour.
What kind of a
Let them
book is
again
it?
do what work has to be done
I found it here in the library.
Weak or
It was on a
sickly
shelf
brethren
where it
should be
should never
assigned
have been.
task or
So
craft
I hid it to read
nature
later.
keep them from
It's the
idleness,
Necronomicon.
at the same time not to
Ghosts,
overburden
demons,
them
and
with
invocations of
right
powers beyond our world.
Their weakness must be taken
Only
into
it's written in a
consideration
strange
by the
language that I can't really make sense of.
The rule
All
of
bara
Saint
this and
Benedict.
who knows what it
Readings
means.
on the abbot.
I tried to
Therefore,
count the
when anyone
syllables,
receives
read the
name
words
of abbot,
backwards, but
he
nothing.
ought to govern his disciples with a twofold
I'm not too
teaching.
sure what the prior or the cicada
That is
would
to
say about a book like
he should
that.
show them all that is
Actually,
good
what
and
anyone would
holy,
say.
by his deeds
sounds
even
quite
more than by his words.
Prohibited.
Expounding
Ah,
the Lord's
prejudice.
commandments in words to the
But you're
intelligent
right,
among
it
his
is prohibited.
disciples. But
For no good
demonstrating the
reason,
divine
though.
precepts by
Has
his
knowledge ever
actions
done
to those
anybody
of
any
harder
harm?
hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should
You're
know
right.
that to whom
Knowledge should
more
never
is
be
permitted,
prohibited.
Oh, I'm
from
glad
him
you agree.
more is required. Let
Just
him
take a
make
look
no
at the book.
distinction of persons
Maybe
in the
you'll be able
monarchy.
to make some sense of
Let
it.
him not love one
I haven't
more
grasped
than
a
another,
single syllable.
unless it be
Just
one whom
please
he finds
don't tell
better in
anyone
good
about the
works
book.
or in obedience.
If the brothers learn that
And
I
let
took
him
it from the
not
library
shut
and
his
hid
eyes
it,
to
I'll
the
be in a
faults
lot of trouble.
offenders, but since
Our
he
brothers'
has the
minds are
authority, let him
closed to a
cut out
thirst for
those
knowledge.
faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate
Actually,
of Heli,
I don't care.
priest of silence.
God save.
The well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal
I'm still
admonition
curious.
first and second
It's no
time.
big terrible secret.
But bold,
Really, it isn't.
hard,
I just
proud,
go and
and
read during
disobedient
services.
characters,
There's
he
no
should
time
curb
other.
at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments.
Will you
Knowing
tell
that
me-
it is
Look,
written,
nothing against
"The
you,
fool
but
is
I
not
prefer-
corrected with words." And again,
Are you
beat
hiding
your
something?
son with the
I'm
rod,
hiding.
and you will
I
deliver
hate
his
to think
soul
of all I
from
lost
death.
when I was.
The rule
I.
of Saint Benedict.
That's all I want.
Please.
Silence. Let us do what the prophet says.
I'd be interested.
I said, I will
I'm
guard
interested
my
in
ways,
Yodok.
that I may not
What
sin
could
with my
interest
tongue.
you about him?
I have set a guard to my
He's a
mouth.
no-good
I
rat.
was mute and
He'll
was
turn you in
silent,
for the
yet
price of a
silence
turnip.
even from good.
I'd bet my life that
Here
if he
the
wasn't
prophet
here,
shows
he'd
that
be a
his
human
spirit of
scat,
silence often
bowing and
leads
scraping
time
for a
to
few
refrain
groschen.
from good
That
speech.
doesn't sound too flattering.
So
It
much
wasn't
the
meant
more
to.
of the punishment
No
of
matter
sin
what you do
or
here,
evil
watch out
words.
for him.
Therefore,
He's got-
since the spirit of silence,
What can you tell me about Lucas?
It's a tricky situation with
rarely be
Lucas.
granted even to perfect
No one really knows anything about
silence,
him.
though it be for good.
I've tried so many times to talk to him, but he always backs away like a virgin on a wedding night.
In much speaking, you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For
That's all.
speaking
Thanks.
and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. That means that everything that can be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a compassionate laugh. Not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict.
What would you?
Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out.
than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the
I'm interested in Lucas.
Nobody knows much about Lucas.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circuitous who make the rounds despise him, and they never punish anyone without cause.
more is committed. From him more is required. Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one
Ah, Gregor.
unless it be one whom he finds better.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices.
And let him not shut
What can you tell me about Siskin?
offenders.
That there's no man alive less suitable for the monastic life than him.
You don't know young Lord Capon.
I've heard things. Siskin must have been like him, fighting, drinking, fornicating, but then he ended up in here.
Why is he in the monastery?
No one knows. Maybe he's hiding from something. Or maybe he's being punished.
Do you think he has a secret?
Don't we all? But unlike the others, he absolutely refuses to speak about his life before the monastery.
That's all I wanted to know about him. Thanks. What about Yodok?
Be on good terms with him. If you show even the slightest hint you don't like him, he'll make your life hell. He's a slimy little pedant who'll rat you out to the superiors. Once he finishes his novitiate, I imagine he'll want to climb his way up the ladder to at least Sir Cater. He's a man who enjoys ordering others around.
I'm interested in Lucas.
No one knows much about him. He doesn't talk to anyone. He works, eats, sleeps, then does it all again the next day. It's as if he wanted to get it all over with as soon as possible. By it, I mean his entire life.
That's all. Thanks.
Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not
Will you
shut
tell
his
me something
eyes
about
to the
yourself?
faults of
Guy,
offenders,
there's
but
nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas.
remembering
Nothing else matters.
the priest of silence, the well-disposed
Come
of
on.
those of good
Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death.
I'd like to know something about the other...
I don't...
Readings on the spirit of
What can you tell me about Siskin?
what the prophet says.
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all. Except that he's not a stickler for rules.
I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from
You really don't know anything about anyone?
the prophet shows that if the spirit
Well, thanks anyway.
sought to lead us
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
works. Therefore, since the spirit of
I'd like to know...
I
Do you know any...
don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin.
Tell me about Antonius.
And in another place,
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
teaching belonged to the master.
Are you joking?
Why should I?
I'd have thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset.
But as for coarse jests and idle words,
In the night, I overheard the cicadas in the cellar. They were talking about you.
Oh no. So it's still not over. This isn't a life in service of God. This is purgatory.
Lucas, what's going on?
the rule of Saint Benedict.
What do you think? Just like you, I saw the Circators drinking and playing hazard as if they were in a brothel.
I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the
We should report them.
of the spirit of silence
I agree.
lead us at times to refrain even from
I warned them if they didn't stop, I'd go and tell the prior. But instead of mending their ways, they vented their anger on me.
You've picked the wrong people to make enemies of, Lucas, they told me. Now I can't even count how many days and nights I've spent locked up in solitary confinement for the tiniest offences, or for no offence at all.
In much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple
Is there something I can do to help?
listen.
Would you?
For that reason, if anything has to be asked of the
I think all it might take is for you to go and sit down with them. Have a talk, set things straight, then they'd leave me alone.
coarse jests and idle
But I'm afraid even this path leads nowhere. They'd probably start hounding you as well.
ritual bath. And for such conversation we
I'm not afraid of them.
a disciple.
Brother, you have the courage I lack. May the grace of God be upon you.
Readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy of the soul. Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times in manual labor, and again at fixed hours.
Salve
Glory be to
Domine.
our Lord Jesus.
And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to read.
Someone really reeked at Matins.
You're right.
Someone really.
Talk to me, brother.
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
The older brothers are picking on novice Lucas, punishing him when he doesn't deserve it and humiliating him.
It seems that now even brothers can't avoid worldly evil. Thank you for the information, and if you can, stand up for him. The older brothers are also out to get me. Any action I take, they'll try to use against me.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not...
Why? What's wrong with...
Many brothers think more...
That's all.
Peace be with you.
You're interested in what's inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them.
Go away. Novices aren't allowed here.
Salve. Be well.
What would you like?
I'm a new brother, a novice, Gregor. I don't know my way around here yet. You're in charge of the whole monastery, aren't you?
Welcome amongst us. Yes, yes. The Lord wanted me to take over the abbot's duties in his absence, but mainly I'm a servant of God, just like you and all the other brethren. Before God, there's no difference between us. How do you like it here?
It's wonderful here.
I'm glad to hear it. May your enthusiasm last.
Will you tell me something about how the abbot is elected?
Of course. Abbot Peter is old, and we're afraid he'll soon be with our Heavenly Father. When he's gone, someone else will have to lead the monastery. All the elder brothers will assemble to choose who that is.
Anyone can become the abbot?
Precisely. We have two candidates, Nevlas and John. As the spiritual shepherd of all of the brothers here, I'm not allowed to publicly express a preference for either. And as a novice, you shouldn't be involved in the election. I know that some brothers have already begun scheming, but don't even think about getting mixed up in it. With the blessing of the Holy Spirit, all will end up as it should be.
Brother, you were somewhere you shouldn't have been.
Very well, brother.
Now, show me what you have on.
So, talk to me, bro.
Brother Sir Cater, my friend.
What would you like? To be relieved from duties?
No, I'm here because of Novice Lucas. I've heard there's some discord with him.
Only because that weasel wants to put an end to our nighttime fun. So, we're letting him know who's in charge here.
I'd appreciate it if you treat him like a brother again.
Well, if he isn't afraid of us, there's nothing to stop him ratting us out. But what do you care anyway? Grown fond of him, have you?
He hates you because you trample all over him and he has nothing to lose. If you show him just a bit of kindness, he'll think again about taking you on. You'll see.
Fine, you've convinced me. You can tell him things have been straightened out, but he'd better be on his best behavior from now on. Beware of Lucas. He might corrupt you.
What do you mean?
He's a sodomite, a sinner. He might try to get you into the habit. Or out of it.
I didn't know that. Thanks for the warning.
Talk to me, brother.
Peace be with you.
Not now, brother. Praise be to...
I've just... That's all I know.
If you find out...
What is it, brother?
What is it, brother?
I'd like to ask you something.
Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. Who are you, though? Oh, it's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
You mean his not going to morning prayers?
So you noticed that too?
You've got the wrong end of the stick. That has nothing to do with anything.
You think so? He definitely acts like a criminal. Who else would it be?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
What are you going to do to that fellow once you find him?
I don't know yet.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it, not act on your own.
That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that to whom more is committed.
I spoke to the Cicadas about how they've been treating you.
Really? Did you manage to convince them to leave me alone?
Love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the fault.
But you have to promise not to tell anyone what you saw them doing. Then they'll leave you alone.
That's a promise I'd be glad to make. I'm forever in your debt, brother. Because now I know I can trust you. There's something I want to tell you. It's about Brother Antonius. I wouldn't like to say something that isn't true. God forbid I should cause harm by my words, but this is something I'm sure of. Novice Antonius is lying to us.
What makes you say that?
He claims he's a merchant's son from Vlashim, and that he joined the order voluntarily. The thing is, I spent a great deal of time in Vlashim. I know it like the back of my hand, and no one even remotely like Antonius has ever lived there.
Are you sure? Because this could mean that...
It's true, or Canute isn't my name. That would be my secular name, by the way, but that's not important. I know Vlashim, and I know the local merchants there, and I've never seen Antonius among them. Why would he be lying if he had nothing to hide?
Thank you for telling me. I'll look into it.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on humility. The first degree of...
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's
I mean, where you're from.
I'm a
You see, I'm looking for someone here.
You're looking for someone? But you're a novice.
I am a novice.
Why would you be looking amongst monks? You know, the laws of man aren't valid here. In the cloister we're
I'm looking for a footpad who's hiding out here in the monastery. He had a hand in raising the Neuhoff farm. He's taken many lives.
I heard something about that. But why are you telling me all this?
Because you could help me. It has to be one of the other novices.
That can't be. Have you told the prior? What are you going to do to this man once you find him?
talk to him. Then I'll see. Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter I'm looking for?
I think I might know. I wouldn't like to say...
What makes you say... Are you sure?
It's true.
Thank you for telling me.
Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
and again at fixed hours and sacred.
Well, that's all.
To that end, we think that the times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter,
There's something I should tell you.
You're looking for...
I am a novice.
What?
I'm looking for a footpad.
Ah,
Because you could help.
from the 4th hour until about the 6th, that the
I don't know yet.
it won't...
Do you have any idea which of the novices could be the imposter?
I think... I wouldn't...
What makes you say...
It's true.
Thank you for telling me.
wanted to read, let him read to himself in such a way as
What do you What do you desire?
weak or sickly brethren should be assigned
I've heard you're from Vlashin.
of such a nature as to
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did you hear it? Since I'm quite sure I've never told you. Honestly, the monks like to gossip more than old wives at the market.
the rule of Saint Benedict, reading
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashin. You made it all up.
And who told you that?
this is the virtue
Whoever it was, he's a liar. It's complete nonsense.
who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior,
I've heard you're from Vlashin.
Yes, why do you ask?
suffer any delay in
I've read the abbot's book. It's got everything he knows about the novices.
Why? Why would you do that?
if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarmness,
It was pure chance.
grumbling, or
Pure chance.
for the
You had to break into his study to get it. Do you have any idea how they'll punish you for that?
That's beside the point now. There are gaps in your little story about Vlashin.
What's so implausible about it? I've always been more interested in books. So I left my brother the shop and came here to live a good life.
and far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule of Saint
Good.
Benedict, reading
I believe you.
humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the
I need to make a confession.
nothing dearer
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay,
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this anyway? What do you want from me?
Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident. All the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still, I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lukas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
silence sought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech. So much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil works.
I don't think it was him. But please, don't tell a soul what we've been talking about.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written,
I've heard you're from Vlashin.
Yes.
not escape sin.
I've read...
And in another place, death and life
That doesn't matter. What matters is the abbot doesn't believe your little fairy.
What's so implausible about it?
You see, I'm looking for someone in the monastery. Someone who's lied about who he is. And you fit that description perfectly.
But I told you, I've never lied to anyone.
That's funny. I think you're lying to me right now.
Do you think you're entitled to met out justice? Who gave you the right? I'm sorry, but I don't want to have anything more to do with you, Gregor. You're a lunatic, and the prior ought to be warned about you.
I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth.
If you so much as open your mouth about this.
Then what?
Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to
What is it, brother?
I know you're pious. The man I've been looking for.
So you're finally sure? Tell me, Gregor, or Carl, or whatever your true name is. What do you want to do now?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I should do.
Well, at least you're prepared to think and not just play bloodhound for a pack of nobodies. And I'm glad you have your doubts.
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking for. If I have to kill, it should be for a reason, not because I enjoy it.
You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us, but we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhof. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhof made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
What if I wanted a different option?
You could kill another novice, I suppose. If news of the murder got out from the monastery, my former friends might believe I'm dead. But I'm offering you a solution that doesn't require any killing. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humble, and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent and to listen. For that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy of the soul. Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times in manual
I don't agree.
And again at fixed
I'm sorry to hear that. I thought we could come to an agreement that...
Times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter... come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves
possessed by
to
an
read.
evil spirit.
After the 6th hour having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to
Talk to
govern
me,
his
brother.
disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the
I'm no
intelligent
priest.
among his disciples.
I'm here in the monastery.
But
You don't say.
demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called. And should
Someone
know
whose
that
job it is to investigate the case, find the perpetrators, and make sure they get the punishment they deserve.
Punishment? Do you intend to punish them here, in the monastery?
I don't know yet. I'm still just on their trail. Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you. But I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident. All the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know.
3. Please, no one knows anything about it, actually.
The well disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with
I don't think it was him.
Don't fret, my friend.
But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments, knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell and the glory
What do you
of life,
desire, Brother Gregor?
as soon as anything has been ordered,
I know you're pious.
So you're finally sure?
cannot suffer any delay
I don't know. I'm not sure what I should do.
Well, at least you're prepared to think and not just play bloodhound for a pack of nobodies. And I'm glad you...
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking.
You know, we're both... What I...
So the evil...
Both of us can...
For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amends.
You deserve to die.
I'm sorry to...
The rule of Saint Benedict.
Is that the best you can do?
I will guard my ways, that I may not sin my father.
You're dead! Is that all you got? Gone weak at the knees, have you?
Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
he ought to govern his
I've heard you're from
Yes, why do you ask?
That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy.
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashim.
And who told you that?
Expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples.
I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but
I'm here in the...
you don't.
Someone whose job it is to investigate the case, find the perpetrators and make sure they get the punishment they deserve.
Punishment? Do you intend to punish them here, in the
I don't know yet. Perhaps you could help me find...
The missing thief?
I know.
3. No one knows anything.
Unless it be one whom he finds better in good works.
I don't think it was him.
Don't fret, my
Let
friend.
him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders.
I know you're pious.
So you're finally sure?
Let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon
I don't know.
as they begin to
Well, at least you're...
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking for.
You know, we're both pawns in some... I was a... What I saw at night...
So the evildoer changes his way.
Both of us can...
But bold, hard, proud and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments. Knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words.
You're right.
Since the spirit of silence,
But the people who sent me will find out if I don't kill you.
They won't if we're clever about it. No one has to die. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
To open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on daily manual.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it, all the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
From Easter until the calends of October. When they come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Getting the keys won't be easy.
I know, but Brother Celerius is a reformed thief. I'll bet he still has a few lockpicks lying about. If you know how to use them, they'll be worth finding. Or there's the hard way. Steal the keys from the prior. He carries them with him at all times.
They both sound horrid to me. But needs must.
Brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness and at the same time not
What are you going to do?
burden them or drive them.
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow. That sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
Therefore, when anyone receives the name of
All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that to whom more is committed, from him more is required.
Talk to me, brother.
Make no distinction of persons in the monastery, Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots, as to that end we think that the time fourth hour until about the sixth, let them apply themselves to reading. After the sixth hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done.
Don't move a muscle.
Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft
Brother, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working some...
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? I'll pretend nothing happened. But this is the last time, brother.
Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times. We think of the times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October. In the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds. Nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not overburden them or drive them. Their weakness must be taken into consideration.
Sit me, Dux. What do you desire?
I'm interested.
You're not alone.
Why? What's wrong with...
Many brothers...
That's all.
Peace be with... Ah.
I'm here to...
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. Today it's your task to concoct 2 potions to aid digestion. Once you finish them... Praise be to Christ, brother. Ah.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
Peace be with you, brother.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you.
Oh, this is quite inexcusable, boy. Can you even read?
Salve, Domine.
What troubles you?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who would you like to be the new abbot?
Brother Nevlas, there are many things wrong here, and John would leave them as they are.
Who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from gaining a reward for such work as this...
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I'd like to ask...
The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on...
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd like to ask... Who would you like to be?
Brother Nevlas.
And the fear of hell and the glory of life everlasting.
What would you like?
Anything has been ordered by the
I'd like to ask you...
receive it as a divine command.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
Any delay in execution.
John, definitely. Compared to him, Nevlas is young and inexperienced. John has the wisdom of age, and he already has the respect that Nevlas will have to earn.
Lukewarmness, grumbling, or objection. For the
Who would you like?
given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily with his lips, but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command, yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring. And far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The rule... From Easter until October, when they come out from climb in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. Let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour having left, let them rest on the in such a way as not to
You'll see. Things will get better within you.
Be well. Salve. Be well.
It stunk like a wine barrel in there.
It's a mystery, but one that'll be soon. He doesn't check everyone's breath anymore. Then he'd soon get his man.
What would you like?
I'm looking for something a little,
And what would that be exactly?
Peace be with you, brother.
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lock picks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I? Praise be to Christ.
I'm looking for...
And what would...
I need to get some wine.
You're not the only one. But I have to keep records of all the casks.
I need to get hold of some...
Well, I can't help you with that.
I'm looking...
Lock?
I'd like...
Well, so you heard... I'll... What troubles you?
You have some interesting skills for a monk. Don't suppose you want to tell me how you picked them up?
What's there to tell? We were all young and foolish once. I was a student in Prague, completely broke, living from hand to mouth and studying all day. It wasn't an easy life.
So you turned to stealing?
I set about securing a livelihood as best I could. A goose, some new shoes, a bit of coin to spend with my friends. Without that little bit extra, I'd never have completed my studies. I would have turned into a beggar. And who else do you know that can say he's serving God thanks to having been a thief?
No one, brother. Thank you for telling me your story.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who would you like to be the new abbot?
What kind of question?
Brother, I've a favour to ask, and I think you're the man to help me with it. Or you used to be, before you came here.
I see, so it's the dodgy sort of favour, is it?
Well, yes. I need to get hold of the keys to the monastery.
That won't be easy, I can tell you that straight off. The prior always keeps the keys close by him. So how exactly do you imagine I could help?
Could you take the keys off him?
Rob the prior? You've got to be joking.
You wouldn't be doing it for free?
Then what could you possibly pay me? I'm done with my thieving, and you'd have to offer me a whole lot of groschen to change my mind.
How much would you want?
A princely sum, brother. This is no trifling matter.
I see. Will this do?
By the relics of Saint Procopius, where did you get all that? But a promise is a promise. Give me that, and I'll get the keys to get you out.
There you go.
Come back in a couple of days. I won't manage to get the keys before that.
What do you decide?
That's all I know.
If you find out...